You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.
I have a rendezvous with death. At some disputed barricade. It may be he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land and close my eyes and quench my breath. I have a rendezvous with death. And I to my pledged word am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Meta Show. It is week one of the war. I am your host, Brisker Ball. I am joined by everyone's favorite autocrat and space tyrant for the ages, the Matani.
My. Well, it's a pretty wild day, and I can see what Brisk is talking about right now. Like, my camera looks all right on my version of Zoom here, but when I see myself on stream, I look a little bit pixelated, so I apologize about that. There's not much to see. I'm in full like goth mode, wearing black. So if I'm just like an invisible talking head, you know, it's
kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. Like I'm all like happy with my outfit and everything, and I'm a low resolution talking head, so it is what it is. But I guess that sort of sets the tone of the war because it's Saturday. Our enemies are like the whole weekend is supposed to be the big thing, because especially all the people who are trying to attack us in World War B are primarily what we call weekend warriors, and it's been a pretty calm Saturday so far after kicking their asses all over the galaxy yesterday. So yeah, we have a whole panel of cool dudes who are here. We have January Valentine, who is going to be giving one of her amazing like war updates. Like, I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of this, but some of the only good posts that are on the Eve subreddit, besides like Big Bill the Boss and Jay Amazingness like running trains on people, have been January Valentine, who have January has like been posting these very detailed, neutral, honest like war updates of like what's actually been happening day after day, and it's been a ton of work, and we're delighted to have her. We're going to put a camera on her later, and she's going to give a report, and it'll be free of any like mitten spin. Don't worry, I'm here to do lots of spinning, but there's not much to spin about because we're fucking winning this thing, so whatever. Yeah, so Brisk, why don't we do your thing, and then I will talk about me subbing a whole bunch of accounts and having lots of fun in Eve, and then we can get into it.
I have a very brief soapbox. My soapbox today is simply to say this: Happy birthday, honey. Today is my wife's birthday. Her birthday is today. My birthday is tomorrow. So we are like 12 hours apart, literally. We're the same age. So I always have to say happy birthday to her. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for letting me do the show on your birthday in the middle of the day when I know you'd rather be doing something fun. So I appreciate that. You know, you're the best. So thanks, honey. I love you. All right. That's it. That's all I got. So what do you got?
Well, let's see. I mean, actually, my birthday is going to be next Sunday. So like we're all like July.
We're all
like,
July, baby.
19th,
this is it.
Yeah.
I
will be turning 42 years old. I have several gray hairs now. As the course of the war continues, I imagine those gray hairs will be restored to their natural color. You know. Anyway, jokes aside, what do I have? So we're going to be talking about this a little bit later in the show, depending on how much time we have. But like as usual, there was yet another, oh my God, CCP is selling skill points controversy or whatever that broke out a couple days ago. my position on this stuff has always been pretty consistent, which is that like if you're old school, you realize that if you just wanted to buy a character, there was a perfectly in-game legal way for you to just buy characters, which if you think about it is literally spending money for skill points, because you could spend money on Plex with your wallet, then you could buy a character off of Evo for anything that you want. So you have then transformed your real money in your wallet into character skill points. Now you can jump through some hoops or whatever, but I just want to say, I have now just, I started playing Eve in the client when we started the Goonfleet Expeditionary Force deployment. I guess it was a couple months ago. I don't know. Time's a blur because we're in wartime now. So like last week feels like it was 3 months back. And I've been having a lot of fun with the game. And I'm playing on a 34-inch monitor, which really helps. So like all the spaceships look really sexy. And like I have like resubbed 4 accounts and I'm paying them all with like real money. And then, and that's usually because I was mostly a metagame player. I would like keep the Matani subbed. And then everything else I would plex in or plex out depending upon needs, because I wasn't really in the game that often except for flag waving stuff. So I just, a lot of people get mad about this stuff. And in the Imperium, Atrum was sending a broadcast to everyone saying, hey guys, if we want to train into T2 Dreads, this amazing $40 skill boost pack is, it's only $40. We don't know how long CCP is going to have it because people are crying about it. So, I got one. I'm probably going to get the other on my other 3 accounts, throw more money at it and buy some more skill points because it's great. I now have a T2 Phoenix that I'm going to be using to do some stuff that we'll talk about later. Maybe we won't. We'll see. And it makes our enemies really angry. So here in the Imperium, we believe in supporting CCP when CCP is doing good things. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, because we've got Laz and Grath on, which is awesome, is what it is like to be like an old school player of Eve and coming back in what I call 2020 Eve. Right, because in 2020 Eve, a whole bunch of stuff that used to be really frustrating and annoying between like playing the game and getting to fun has been fixed. And so, not only am I fully subscribed on 4 accounts using real money, I am buying more free, skill points for $40. Happy to throw money at CCP. We want the company to do well. The game is awesome, even if I'm getting my ass shot out from under me because I don't know how tether mechanics work. So yeah, that's it. That's basically it. People are mad about skill points, I guess, and I bought some because I think that's cool. And shout outs to CCB for doing good. Game is good. Water is warm. Come on in.
And
that's
to Min's point, I mean, honestly, I want to throw this meme up because I think this meme encapsulates what I view as really the controversy this week. And this has basically been it. It's, oh, CCP's now selling SP in the store. Oh my God, that's disgusting. Where? Because everybody's going to buy it. Because I bought 4. I know. I mean, look, if you have an 80 million skill point plus character, being able to get 1.5 million skill points, that's three skill injectors for a low level character, but that's like 10 for a high level character.
Yeah, like
so
all my dudes have like 100 million skill points, right?
Right.
So
it costs a ton.
Injectors don't really work, right? So
why not do it? And I mean, look, I understand that people are mad. I understand that they think that this is the slippery slope down the road to, well, maybe they'll just start selling us ships directly, or maybe they'll just start selling us this direct, golden ammo or whatever. I don't think they're going to do that. And I think the CSM has made clear where we think the line is, and this is probably where the line is. And at the end of the day, they did it last year. So all the complaining and the fighting that we're doing now is just a redux of literally the same argument that we had a year ago. And in a year's time, all they've done is increase the price of the pack and make it a little more valuable for older players. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on it, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
Yeah, just get over it, basically. It's
exactly.
2020. It's a old game. The game needs to make money for us to have spaceship war. You like the spaceship game. You want CCP to be making money or game stops. I feel like I'm having to explain this to a bunch of fucking toddlers. Thankfully in the Imperium, we are not a bunch of fucking toddlers and our guys are all over this. And if it makes our enemies angry, then fuck them, who cares? So yeah, it's all good. I'm delighted.
All right, well, we're going to move into our top story. We're going to introduce Grath and Les and January, and we're going to talk about the war and what it's like to be a veteran coming back and all that good fun right now. And here we are, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'd like to introduce From my left to my right, Grath Telkin. He is the former CEO of Sniggertly, the main corporation in Pandemic Legion. Now he is a member of AMOC in Goonswarm. In the middle, we have January Valentine, our favorite producer, who is not Jay Amazingness, and who has been doing a bang-up job, as Mitten said, with her war reporting every night. And on the right, we have Lazarus Telraven, who is one of our past co-hosts on the Meta Show. He served as co-host on the show from 2014 to 2016. So we're welcoming him back. He's been on here far more than I have. So thanks for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it.
No, we're happy to be here. I mean, it's the big thing here to get through everyone's head is AMOC is the best corp in Goons.
Oh, there you go. I don't know. I'm a Karma Fleet guy, so I might have to arm wrestle you for that.
This is my reminder to AMOC that I will continuously wear Pandemic Legion shirts until you guys start sending me swag.
Grath is holding us hostage. He needs us to send him some AMOC swag, so he has something else to wear on these streams.
I have to say that I never expected it would get to this point, but it's just the madness of 2020 is that Amok.'s posting crew on our Eve is really impressive because like now you have like Grath, you have Big Bill the Boss, you have like the Amok.' dudes are just tearing people apart on Reddit, and I love to see it. And I never thought it would get to that point, but you know, the Amok.'s posting crew is in top form.
Yeah, it was fun and local yesterday too because it was the first time I had seen them all, and they were less than pleased, I would say. The one little guy told me he's going to throw a beer in my face if he sees me. And I was like, wow.
Oh, that's a great fucking idea. Yeah, no, it's really like, you know, this is just like the dumbest fucking thing. Like, I've been, you know, obviously spies, like we read what the bad guys are saying all the time. And they really had a bad week. We're going to be getting into this a little bit later. But one of the things that has been funny for me is to watch our enemies go just sort of like day after day. Like one day this week, Elo Knight joined Goonswarm, and they're like, oh my god, Elo's in Goonswarm FCing, right? Like, and he's here for the war, he's going to go back and do his thing, but it's like the Fountain War. Elo being on our team is to us not all that surprising, but to our enemies they're like, oh my god, Elo Knight. And then the next day, like, Laz joined, and they're like, oh my god, Laz is back, and they freaked out about that because they remember BR5 and they have the fear. And then like the Piece de Resistance was having Grath join, and that was just like the amount of fear, anxiety, confusion, backpedaling, just the wibbles. Like they're shook, and I thought it was just really kind of funny to see them sort of deal with that. You know, they're starting to realize that they are not the good guys, and that they're on the wrong side, and that all the cool people are over here. So
they're on Billy's
side.
Suck. Never going to be the cool side.
They're on Villy and Manny, and like, you know, I mean, again, like I said, I think last time around here, like I enjoy partying with Piggles in Vegas. Like Piggles is charismatic. He's like a cool dude. I wouldn't rely on him for anything, but you know, he's definitely cool, but he's not really like part of like the whole test crew. He's like Noli Secunda dude. The actual like test guys are, well, whatever.
I've never had any contact with Sapro. Like the last leader of test I had to deal with was Montolio, right? And then like, and we took the rest of his leadership pretty much and absorbed it. And then there's Sapro, and I've never met him or never spoke to him, never had any dealings with him, but I know Billy, and that's all you really need to know, I guess.
Well, that was going to be my question, Grath. Why don't you tell us, why are you on our side in this war when your crew is fighting against us?
Sure, at first it was because of the way things ended with me and Headliner. This was a good chance for me to just get a little more get back because of how all that ended up in the end. And then the other part of it is I have always not liked Billy. Like I'm on permanent record on multiple different sites as hating him because he's part of Amoeba. Mostly no spine in his body at all. And I can't stand him as a person. So that those two people, I mean, like nobody in Eve can hold a grudge anymore, but I can still hold a grudge like the best of them. So, and I'll hold it against him for pretty much the rest of fucking forever. And yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, and Killabee, who like randomly starts talking shit today, which like I don't even know why. I actually do know why. I'm the one that me and Jeff are the ones that called him stealing from PL and made him give it all back, and so he's been bitter forever. And we really wouldn't give him control, but if you give a 16-year-old German kid control of your alliance, I think you.
I mean, I think that Killabee
kind of get
came
what you
back
deserve,
and was like herfing blurf, so like he did like. before we juked these guys by going like, we know your war plan, and so we're pulling back from Cloud Ring or whatever, Killaby had like popped up on Twitter to like post like basically, you know, one of those like, I'm back guys, because they expected us to leave our asses hanging out in like low sec for them to drop on. But their plan sucked and we maneuvered, and Killaby has not really, you know, whatever. If dude wants to dock some more faction titans about it, like, cool, great.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think I've seen him out in Fountain. I mean, I see Alpha Star out. I see Headliner out. I see Zeronis out. I see those guys out all the time. I see Burnal out. I haven't seen B at all. So
there's no casino money to like buy him faction titans, right?
Yeah.
You can't like
Yeah, you
embezzle
can't
casino
steal.
money this
Right.
time. Yeah. So like whatever.
Yeah, SRP is a little harder. Laz, why did you come back? What brought you back? I mean, obvious besides the obvious.
It was the propaganda posting on Reddit, man. Like, so whenever this started kicking off, for the last like the 2 weeks leading up to the NIP ending, I've been getting like Discord pings and messages on my phone, all that, like every single day, asking if I was going to come play again. But then I started looking at Reddit and seeing all the propaganda popping back up, and then I saw we were flying sacrileges, and for some reason I have this weakness for missiles, because I want to see them work in time dilation, because I never do. And
someday maybe. Well,
and even when I'm not playing you, I'm always watching what's being changed about the game, just to see if it's going to get good again. But all the change, like we were talking about this before the show started, all the direction CCP is currently going seems to be working in an interesting direction. Like the new jump bridge system's amazing. Mm-hmm. So it felt like the right time to come back and play.
Yeah,
Grath, you were saying last night about how you thought the jump bridge thing was crazy.
I mean, they're definitely, they look good. All that stuff they put out in space looks good. And,
one of the things that I've been seeing the bad say, and I just want to like clarify this, is when you guys came back, right? The immediate response from the bad guys was that we were paying you, right? And one of the things about this is like, so here's the thing: we have a lot of people who have Goonswarm has existed for 15 years now, 15 fucking years. So when we have a big hype war, like instead of running around and like twisting arms and saying, hey man, come back, my attitude towards it is like, if it's right, people will be engaged and they will come back of their own volition, right? So like if the propaganda game is on point, if we're like as a society we are doing well, if our culture is doing well, if we have a good purpose and people are having fun, that makes waves across the internet and people want to get in on that. And so you're like, we haven't even sounded the horn of Gundor yet, and like so many of the sleepers are awakening, because like this is the thing that I think a lot of the younger players of Eve, when I say younger I mean in terms of like time and grade, aren't aware of, is that like when you look at the Imperium and you see however many pilots, like 47,000 pilots, or 52 if you count the support organizations like Initiative Mercenaries, you look at that number and you think that's how many dudes they have. And what they don't understand is that sleeping literally in like a vault of like a tomb underneath 1DQ1 are just thousands, actually probably tens of thousands of accounts of people, of all this sort of stuff. And whenever shit gets real and things like this, the sleepers start awakening, and people who only play for Hell Wars suddenly, all right, okay, every 5 years we're here, let's teach the newbies how to do Zor chains, let's get it back out there and do it. So it's been a lot of fun. It's always like a good like getting the band back together kind of vibes, like old friends seeing each other on comms, everybody's hanging out. Main fleets can be a bit of a chore during like relative peacetime, right? But like main fleets during a Hell War are just a blast. Like it's a delight. Like we're having a ton of fun, and it's awesome because I know that our enemies are not having a ton of fun, because of course we're having fun fucking with them, and they're not enjoying it so much. But yeah,
I felt pretty fucking old yesterday. I did like 5 hours in a fleet, and then at the end of the fleet I was like nap, and I was for like 2.5 hours.
I crashed out last night so hard. Like I went to bed early. I got like but fighting all day will drain you, but there's like it's this on and off pace. So you like go. Okay, we hit a save point, and you fall over asleep, and then back at it.
I remember back in the old days when I first started playing MMOs. I remember when Star Wars Galaxy started, and the game was so bad in the beginning, but everybody wanted to play it so bad, and the servers were so unstable. The servers would go down, and you'd be happy because that's when you had a chance to go take a shower and take a nap, and then you had to get back in the game. So it was like, I hope the server crashes so I can go get a shower. But It's nice to be back there. So, all right. So January, I think probably now I'd like to just, we've been talking about the war in general terms. As you guys have seen on Reddit, January has been doing a bang-up job putting together war reports. Can you walk us through this first week of fighting, what we have seen, what we've not seen, and how it's looking out there?
Sure thing. So in any campaign, the first thing people are going to do, they're going to establish beachheads. And we saw that with the 2 Keep Stars onlining in Catch. That system is kind of important because it covers a lot of Catch, almost all of it, and into parts of Stain. So it's kind of the missing link where it hooks up with the Esoteria legacy Keep Stars as well. So as far as I know, Catch was kind of like the demilitarized zone when the NIP was in effect. So
the exclusion zone, yep.
Right. So the first thing that they did was put a beachhead there to kind of facilitate moving their capitals from DTAC-P and farther into Esoteria. They have somewhat of a control on Stain. There was some Russians there that are left over from the Stain Wagon Coalition. But most
You'll never clear Stain completely from Russians. It's never going to happen.
Absolutely. So that's the first thing they did. And then in any campaign, also Pandemic Legion and Pandemic Horde and Northern Coalition moved, but they are staged in Hophib, which is the system right outside of Fountain in Iridia. So we have 2 main staging points right now. So the next thing you do is you find low ADM systems and you start intosising them, and you start generating timers and getting your enemy to start forming lots of timers, lots of fleets every day. So we saw a lot of that almost like within the first and second day. Aquarius has seen a lot of that, probably the most of it, because Goonswarm doesn't have that tight of a control on it. You guys are mostly staged in period basis and delve. So Aquarius is kind of like the backyard kind of thing of Goonswarm. So we've seen a lot of Ventosis there. And then probably the most important thing is getting control of regional gates. They are very important. And there's 3 big ones. There's the Hophib, D4 UK, in Fountain. There's the TCAG and G Magic in Paragon Soul and period basis. And then there is the XZ TAC gate that leads into Stain. And so we've seen most of the fighting, most of the iHub fights there. And we will probably continue to see that going on because no one is going to give them up easily. So Test controls or Legacy controls one side, Goonswarm controls the other. So it's going to be a long and bloody fight. I know a lot of people were kind of like hoping for like Keep Star fights, fast forward.
I please keep star fights, guys.
That'd be nice.
Getting invited. Come on, we're ready. We're getting invaded. I swear.
But I mean, part of that though, I think is and we said this last week. We said it the last couple of weeks, and Mittens has made it clear. We have a lot of summer children who don't understand what these big wars are like, and the fact is, we're a week in. It's going to take a while, and frankly, part of the deal is going to be just trying to get grind the other guys down, make them get tired of forming, make them get tired of going out and doing all this stuff, so then their numbers start dropping, so then you start seeing these bigger fights. But I mean, that's just part of it. So yeah, I mean, I have not seen anything that I wasn't surprised to see so far in the war. It's going pretty much how I think anybody would have expected it to.
Exactly.
Who's done it before.
January, I don't know when you are. Please continue. Like, I don't know what you have prepared, so such that I don't just start talking over you. If you want to continue with your report, I don't know how much more you have before we go to analysis stuff.
The only thing I can say is I'm not a fleet commander. Probably the 2 guys sitting either side of me would know a lot more, but I would expect to start seeing Fortizar fights on these regional gates for the next step, but I can't tell you how far that will be. But just generally, that's just kind of, each campaign is very similar where it has a progression where there are certain low-hanging fruits that you start getting in Tosis timers, even if you don't show up for them, hitting jump bridges, Sino beacons, things like that. I think the init staging jump bridge has been refed like 15 times this week alone.
Pretty much.
But then you're going to start seeing Fortizar fights. And when you start seeing that, that means Dreads and Supers are getting involved, and those are going to be really bloody. So once those happen, you know that shit is getting real.
And so far, at least, I have not seen I've not seen any structures anywhere that were critical structures to that group, that group cared a lot about keeping, that have gone down yet. I know last night, PL was able to kill the Hopib Fortizar, the Goons Fortizar, and Hopib has been there forever. But we didn't really contest it. It's not that's not a staging system for us. That had been there for a while, and fine, we don't need it, and still, I mean, so far, other than a couple of random like little toastings and stuff, I know Brave was very proud that their one single guy managed to claim a TCU in the middle of nowhere in Cloudring that nobody gave a shit about. That was great. Congrats to you. And then they pulled another system in Quirius that was in QFC, Quirius Fight Club, Saab, that's in the middle of nowhere in a back-end system that we would never have defended anyway. So I guess they're proud of that too. I guess it's a morale boost, but in the end, I've not seen any like super critical strategic objectives.
That's kind of the thing, though, right? Side. Like they have a mountain to climb. There's a lot of real estate that they have to cover, and each piece of real estate has a ton of structures in it. So every single tiny victory that they get, they'll make a big noise about to try and keep as many of their own members interested as possible. Because if you put the list in front of your average dude, he's going to just go get a belt and hang himself.
Yeah, his eyes are going to glaze over. And
I don't do that.
Why am I doing it?
I don't do that at all.
I mean, one of the things about this that's sort of tough is that, like, on the one hand, and I think I'm going to do this, so I'm going to be writing up a war update. It should be like posted tomorrow sometime, maybe Monday. We'll see how many herfs I need to blurf. One of the first rules of warfare is, it is rude to interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. And so when I'm here on the meta show, like, it's a much more higher profile kind of thing. I don't want to be necessarily diving into some of the things that they're doing wrong in terms of soft mechanics, but like,
here's what you should be doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't want to be like, hey guys, like here's how a real software works. But I was talking to Asher last night, and he had a really interesting analogy. He was making he had a post on Reddit that I thought was very clever, where he was discussing how, like, just as a joke, like FCing in EVE Online is like having a real time strategy game where, like, occasionally your own units try to like disobey you or sabotage you or whatever, and it just doesn't really work. And it got me thinking, basically, I am confused by how tired the enemy is. And I think what it is that we announced to everybody that we were unanchoring shit in Cloud Ring in the catch exclusion zone, which was covered by the treaty, and we withdrew our Fortizars from there. Some of them got popped or blown up on the way of unanchoring them, but like, we've made it very clear about what regions are floodplains and what areas are ones that we're defending. And it seems like a lot of the hype and like, I'll just put it like this, okay? And for people who know what's up, they'll realize this is funny. And for people that don't know what's up, they'll think that this is Spin Master stuff, right? But these people genuinely believe that TCUs matter in a Sov war.
Right, when that was actually just changed into your little flag. That's it. That's literally all that cares.
It's a flag on the map.
Who
gives a shit?
Are posting about TCU. So, and it's not like spin on their part. Like, our spies are all over these guys. Like, they genuinely believe this. It's not like they know that they're worthless and they're spinning. Like, one of the things about this is that for most of the last 4 years, even like, we deployed north last year and we glass tribute and whatever. Most of the fights that we've been having have been like a coalition deploys its staging, and another coalition deploys their staging, and then our blobs fight, and maybe some keep stars and super caps die. But it hasn't been like a hell war, Sov war kind of thing where somebody is like trying to make a serious play to like take space. And so I think that essentially what's happened is that in the case of a lot of the bad guys, that they just don't understand how, like, the differences between slap fighting with spaceships and conquest, right? And like how Sov war works and like pacing. So like, for example, Saturday, I shouldn't be on the show, right? Like, I am the like alliance leader of Goons from Federation. I am supposed to be exhausted. I am supposed to be running around putting out fires. I am supposed to be fragged. My team is supposed to be fragged. This is Saturday. This is like their biggest push day because our enemies are primarily weekend warriors. The fact that I'm like I mean, if you were on Fleets earlier, you heard me just kind of coming around, chilling out on comms, going like, this is the lightest Saturday that I've had in a long time. And I hope I'm not jinxing things. Maybe we'll lose a Titan fleet about it and like appease the Whelp gods even more. Thankfully, we started out this campaign by sacrificing 2 of our Titans to the Whelp gods. And, we hope that they continue to favor us. But what we're doing to test, I think, is more like what you would expect to see in like a modern Fozzie Eve 2020 kind of campaign, which is constant pressure around the clock on every vector available, right? Economic, hit their supply lines, make it such that they can't build munins, spies everywhere, assassinate their jump freighters, like all the stuff. And, we're creeping into Paragon Soul, and it's just amateur hour, man. It's just fucking amateur hour, right? Like it's kind of, it gets kind of frustrating and disappointing after a certain point, because like every day our guys are getting more and more geared up, guys and girls, and like we're working together, we're building these new organizations, we have all this cool shit to do. Like the Goonswarm offensive in Tosis is like a dream of mine, and I'm so hyped about that org. We're going to be talking about that on the fireside later. So we have all this cool shit that we're doing, and every day I get up and I get ready to do Space Emperor shit all day. And today it's Saturday. Just like they haven't. I mean, what is Villy gonna move some dreads? Are they gonna move some dreads today? I guess I should check our channels over here. Ooh, they're doing a dread move. That's their.
Yeah, it's weird.
They're doing a dread move op, a strat op on Saturday primetime. They're doing a dread move op.
It's a move up.
The amateur hour. What is wrong with these people? This isn't war. We are here to fight a war. You promised us a war, and unless you bring us a war, we will bring you a war. Test is next, and we are getting ever more annoyed that you suck at this so much. We are just going to keep going, guys. We're only just getting started. We're only at about like 70%. We're in the warm-up training montage of like all these old people who are out of shape that haven't really played even 3 or 4 years, like learning how to like do it again. And how does tether mechanic works? Oops, I'm dumb and I lost a legion. How do we do this? How do we do that? Making dumb mistakes, fixing things, and then like getting in our groove. And like we're starting to get ready to fight.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, I hate the Atosis system. Like, that's what made me quit in the first place, was the Atosis system.
It's a little better
because
now.
of,
like, you can
because of Atosis, though, everything is so slow to spin up. Like before, with the old system, you had 3 hours to anchor an SPU, and then once the SPU is anchored, you have to go and reinforce the iHub, and then you had like these set timers, and they had enough HP where you had to bring an actual fleet, and so then you're generating actual subcap fleet fights. But now you have these small ships that have to go in Atosis, so you don't have the big fleet fights anymore. So there's actually been relatively few what I would consider bit like actual set piece battles, because you don't have that system in place anymore.
The other thing that's driving me crazy is, we keep watching all the battle reports, and they keep coming in, and I don't know, maybe in peacetime, talking about the ISK war and stuff like that, that's a way to determine who won. When one side gets the objective, but the other guy kills more ships that are worth more stuff, or just more stuff, that's somehow a benefit. But everybody like crowing about the ISK, goons whelped this, or in it they lost a zealot fleet to save their Titan that jumped instead of bridged, because everybody decides they want to try to be boat and Asakai again, and we already had one of those happen this week. That's somehow a thing, and frankly, guys, there's a lot of ISK on both sides of this aisle. All right, both sides of this fight. We're not at the point now we're a week in. Nobody is running out of money. As much as we may like to tease about it, nobody's running out of money. So when you see this ISK war stuff, ignore it.
Or at least
the problem isn't money. The problem is actually having physical items to buy.
Bingo! And that's my next point. If you really want to look at a number that matters, look at the ships lost on each side and recognize that every time Legacy and the bad guys lose a big fleet and they lose a bunch of ships, they've got to replace those. They've got to bring them in. They're not home. We're home. We build stuff here. We have Sodios in all these systems. We're building things. We have industry in all of these systems. We're running ADM fleets to get that stuff up. We're in our home systems. We have the advantage there. We have the interior lines of communication. They've got to move their stuff in. They've got to bring logistics in. And then, we start seeing stuff like, hey, you know what? You want to buy a Cormorant? It's 13 mil in 1DQ. Well, it's 35 when they're selling them in HopHib, because they got to bring it in, and plus people like to make money. So in the end, if you want to look at a number and see that, keep an eye on the ships killed each time and recognize that it's much harder for one side to replace their ships than the other. That's what you should be paying attention to if you want to keep score.
I mean, whatever. It's the usual balance of like a war where like everybody always, like psychologically speaking, regardless of what side you're on, everybody is always going to try to find the silver lining of any engagement, right? So like Test is going to, I think XCTAC is a foolish miscalculation on their part to try to invest as much into XCTAC as they are. They see it as a beachhead. Hopefully me saying that it's a foolish mistake for them to invest so much in XCTAC instead of snapping the hub and move on will make Test just double down on it because I'm the spin master. But it's a dumb move because we get to do offensive against Test while they're on defense inside of our geography, right? Like as long as they want to invest in that and treat it as a beachhead, I'm delighted. So please just assume that I am lying and spinning and I'm scared because I saw guys, if people in chat saying like, oh my God, like you must be spinning because you're scared or something. If I look even remotely scared or concerned about your capability of invading Fortress Delve, I think that you should probably read some more books about body language.
I mean, XD could possibly work, but if they moved literally everyone into there, so that it's an actual like defensible location.
If they move dreads in there, please, actually, guys, Laz is right.
Yeah.
Laz is right.
Move all your stuff there now,
move
please.
Everything into XCTAC. You wanted it. It will make the Mittani scared, please.
But that's the only way you could possibly make it work, because right now you like where they're basing outside of period bases, so you still have to go through that regional gate, and that regional gate's the bottleneck.
Yep. I mean, somebody here in chat says Mittens looks more chill than it did 2 weeks ago. Because I mean, 2 weeks ago we were preparing for like, I thought it was going to be better. Not because of Manny or Pro God Legend. I thought it was going to be a better attack on us because I thought better of Villy. I mean, Villy had been in the Goonswarm Directorate for several years, and I thought that he, as a result, knew how we worked or would have learned something or realized the kind of things we could do, so he could like counter a lot of our normal trap plays, right? Like, obviously, market fuckery, right? Your main doctrine is Munins. We are going to ruin the market for Munins, so you cannot build your little ships. Oh, you're trying to pull your things. There's just all these things that we're doing that Villy should know that we're capable of because he has seen us do them to our enemies when we take the gloves off. So yeah, I am I'm just kind of like disappointed. Like we're not stopping this. Like we're just going to keep going and going on full speed, and that will only increase until our enemies are destroyed. Again, we're making this about Test. I don't really blame anybody for coming along on this. These guys seem to clearly think that we were just going to like implode, and we're keeping the blame on Test, and we're going to continue to keep the pressure on Test because it's fun, and they deserve it. But it's this last week, this is day 6 of the invasion of Delve. And just for contrast, for people who are actual veterans of EVE Online Hell Wars before, the Great War lasted 3 years. And then if you want to count like follow-ups like us purging Raiden or purging IT Alliance or whatever, you could probably say like Great War and Great War adjacent things lasting 4 years approximately. So like to be this tired and whining about move ops on day 6.
70% of the work is done by 12 people.
There you go.
Alpha Star Pellets. Oh my God. Do we have a screenshot of Alpha
There it
Star
is,
Pellets?
right there.
Cracks forming. Like the fact that these guys are infighting on, and that was on day 5, right? Because that was like yesterday. So day 5, they have people like Alpha Star Pellet didn't just like, shit on one random guy. He pinged everybody in their Discord to be a douchebag to them because I guess their command layer is, these are summer children. They don't know what a hell war is like. And the people who understand what a hell war is like the adults in the room, you see, are not really as involved in this, right? Like Vince sends pings and stuff, but it's not really like a full-scale serious mobilization from NC Dot because, the adults in the nullsec room kind of realize that this whole plan that's being run by the Test guys is dumb as hell. And
the fact of the matter though is Alpha Star Pilot's not even wrong. It's true.
He's not wrong. That's why it's funny.
Yeah, like he's not wrong, but it should take longer than this for him to be that burnt out to send a ping like that.
Exactly. Like I would say like 2 or 3 months in like a real war, we would like have fragged their command layer. But like, I think one of the things that's sort of a different perspective is like when we lost the casino war, and we retreated because, you know, our bad guys have infinite money, so you can't do the Fabian strategy we planned, blah, 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 whatever. We lost the casino war. That sucked. We retreated to Delve and rebuilt. We changed a lot of aspects of our organization. So like one of the things that has been really amazing is that we have, in the Imperium, we have really badass Chinese alliances. And so we now have a really badass AUTZ. We have a really badass Chinese time zone. And we have created essentially across the Imperium a 24/7 organization. And there are handoffs of coordination and plans and everything, just all the way around. Meanwhile, like our enemies, their leadership structure is mostly based in the US time zone. So like we are running a 24/7 grinding steamroller that is slowly accelerating and is aimed directly at Test's heart. And, you know, they are tired. And you know, well, so structurally it makes sense, but it's just sad.
That might be one of the bigger differences between goons and who we're fighting right now, is that with like whenever I quit the game and then V quit the game and basically like our entire top level like kind of just took a break, you guys are able to cultivate new FCs, new core people, whereas the other side you have a lot of veterans who are used to the old way of doing war. They're used to having full control and having to have some sort of say or commentary in every single decision. So that's why they're getting burnt out so quickly. Whereas since you have so much fresh talent on this side, you're able to spread out the workload, which it's completely different than the way it used to be.
Yeah.
We have like
the other thing I think is pretty important. You know, I hate the fact that our logistics guys do not get as much credit as they deserve, because I'll tell you, the biggest asset that makes us better than them is GSOL. I mean, the stuff that our logistics guys can do is just absolutely crazy. And the fact is, nobody else in the game has the logistics capability that the Imperium has. And that's just that's a force multiplier of beyond anything you guys can even imagine. Because we don't have to worry about making sure we have ships available, or stuff is fitted in stagings, or our jump freighters are moving around, or we have routes. We have people that are designed to do that. And one of the things, and Grath and I were talking about this last night on Open Comps, one of the things that freaks me out is how often the main lead guys, like the lead FC guys in the Legacy and the Pan Fam Alliances, are also the ones that are doing all the logistics. So Alpha Star's freaking out because 70% of the work's being done by 12 people, including guys like him. Because not only is he leading fleets, he's also got to do all the logistics stuff. Now, Villy is like the only guy that has the keys to TTT, so he's the one that has to do all that work. There's so much extra work on these guys, plus all the war stuff, they're going to get burnt out a lot faster. But I mean, Grath, is that how you guys did it? I mean, did you have to do all that stuff yourself?
We actually cultivate people. Like, usually, like I had like Vega. Vega is a friend of mine that I've played with for a while, and he likes being a space trucker. So anytime that you would need something, you'd be like, Vega, I need a tower set up here. And he'd just go and do that shit for you. And then there was the one guy that got yelled at that turned off the Clone Bay and the PL Citadel or whatever that cost them all billions. He was one of those guys. And because there are so few of them, you have to kind of like treat them in a very particular manner, because if you don't, they turn off Clone Bays and kill everybody. Fuck everything, right? Like, yeah, it's just like, oh, we made that guy wrong, mad. And like, that's always something that's probably, as a new guy steps into leadership, he had to adjust to taking care of those guys. Some people chafe against it really hard, but like most of the older guys got with the idea that you don't fuck with the logistics dudes, because when I want to ask for 200 dreads to be fitted and dropped off in Fountain and fucking Stain or some shit like that, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with that at all. I don't even want to move the fuel. So we always had people that would do it, but very few people, and those people usually suffer a fairly tremendous amount of abuse.
It's just one of the things that's really fun for us. Like, I think one of the reasons why we're enjoying this so much is that specialization and organization is like what we do, right? Like, that has always been my obsession. For the 10 years that I've been the CEO of this thing, most of the time I've not been playing even the traditional way. I do metagame stuff, and I do like org structure, like building organizations, making them run better or whatever. And like, for the longest time, we believed, when somebody tells me that something can't be done in EVE, I usually kind of like how Laz was talking about, like, he's going to make a heavy missile platform work in heavy tie-dye, right? Like, it's kind of the same deal with me. It's like when somebody says, like, you have to have a Sky Marshal, like, this is an example, like, you cannot Coordination has to be done by one person or else. And I bashed my head into the idea of creating like a coordination team, like a real military coord group. Tried and failed for years. And one of the huge advantages that we have is we have an amazing coordination team. So for example, what the enemy is doing, like I said, they've got like 12 FCs or whatever across 103 alliances that are like doing all this stuff. We have
I don't know how
Sinos,
they do that.
Yeah, Sinos are handled by Recon, as is Scouting. We have logistics handled by GSOL. We have the finance team to make sure that things are produced on time. We have spies to make sure that our FCs understand everything that the enemy is doing in advance. We have coordinators on deck, separate from the FCs, to be able to designate what fleets are going where and monitor the battle space using a bunch of apps that our developers have created over the years, which are like state actor level of like, it's insane. We're not going to talk about all of that because it's cool and it's a huge competitive advantage we have for the bads. But essentially, one of the things that people see when they join the Imperium is that it is a completely different operation because it's run now post Casino War. We restructured the thing and it's run in a sort of like a modern federated state in a lot of ways. And I say state not in the American sort of sense, but in like the political sense of a state actor. And that means that it's easier for our FCs and our skirmish commanders to be able to do things because if, hey, you want to be a skirmish commander, you want to go grab an interceptor fleet, a QRF, and go like shoot some random dudes hacking. You have a coordinator to tell you like this is what you're going to do. You have people to hold your hand and make sure that you don't make mistakes. If you do make mistakes, we have debriefs, so we will teach you what went wrong, and if there was something that you didn't do wrong but there was a failure in the organization, we will change things immediately, assuming that we can do it immediately, but as soon as we can, to make it easier for people to learn and do their thing. So the level of specialization and the focus on efficiency, I think, is already showing that we have a pretty we're Xing for gay for Jay. I am absolutely gay for Jay.
I have to X up for that too.
Yep, absolutely.
There we go.
I was on a Sneaky Pete fleet that Jay was running last night, and I got to shoot a Bifrost hacker from test, and it was fun. Actually, several of them I got final blow on one, so I get to claim an Entosis bounty, which is another thing we do. We have like bounty systems. There's all
we have bounties
cool
on
Sinos.
That's what we've been doing.
Oh,
so.
We should probably steal that too. We don't have Sino bounties.
We quite enjoy warping in to Hophib and killing their Sinos and warping out.
You get to watch this real time right now. I'm writing down here in another channel, and it has a Sino bounty. We should.
Well, it's expensive now because it has to be recon ships. So
right,
like
exactly. That's fun.
And killing Sino.
Yeah, I mean, why not? We can just bolt a Sino bounty onto the Entosis bounty we already have. Like, we train up an entire generation of fucking headhunters here out of this war. I will be delighted. Tests will not be so delighted, but they're next. Sucks to suck.
There you go. All right, so for Laz and Grath, now Grath, you come and go, so you're like you've been following stuff, but Laz, you have not been back in a while. Is that right? When was the last time you played before?
I played was when I was playing with Black Legion.
Okay.
So whenever that was.
So what does it feel like coming back now? What's like the biggest change or the biggest thing that you were surprised at coming back now and getting in fleets with us and doing all this stuff now?
No, like I said, the jump range is the biggest thing. I think overall, though, everything kind of feels fresh. There's a lot of stuff I have to get used to again, and so I kind of feel more like a new player again. So that's definitely get my engagement level up there. I'm starting to kind of get the feeling where I kind of want to lead some stuff again, but I don't know if I will or not.
Getting the itch.
I just want to skirmish. I want to go after the Entosis guys. I think that's where my itch is going to be. I want to fuck. My name is Chuck.
but I mean, like, it's right now the most fun I've had is just sitting in fleet and just shooting the shit. Like we got blue ball today, but I think it was just like B, Grath, Asher, and Mittens came at one point. We're just shitting up comms. I mean,
it's been a chill Saturday, man.
I know today's been a nice quiet. I sat in my Titan for 2 hours and pulled memes up and got ready for the show. It was nice.
Test is literally wasting Saturday prime time right now for fucking Dread Move Up. This is pathetic.
Headliner tweeted at me whenever I came back, or in response to Elise tweeting, let's see if they actually do anything. But I feel like I've been more productive just sitting in fleet, keeping people engaged, than I would actually leading a fleet. Like it's been just keeping people there while we reinforce Fortizars or guard and gate. I mean, it's just been fun.
Making sure my Claymore boosts were on. That was my whole job.
That's like one of the things, like,
you
know, I've learned over the years that, like, when people come back, right, like, and in general, like, when people are like, when newbies ask me the question, or when returning vets will ask the same question. The question is, you know, how can I help most? Like, what can I do the best? Or should I be doing this, or should I be doing that? And what I tell people is, in an organization as vast as the Imperium, that you will do your best for whatever by having fun your way. So, like, if what you feel like engaging in at the moment is you want to run around in drama fleets and snipe hackers, go nuts. If what you feel like doing is sitting around and chilling on comms and smoking weed and talking to the guys in the line in the trenches, do that. Because, like, when you try to get people to do something that they don't want to do, they'll resent you for it, and they won't really do a very good job. Even if they think that they're doing it for the greater good, they will gradually sort of burn out. So, you know, it's a really kind of a hands-off process. Like, you know, if we're doing our jobs in leadership right by making this cool and fun and as painless as possible, people will naturally find their way to doing what they feel like, and they'll do a better job of it than somebody who has said, like, you know, hey Laz, can you come back and like run 3 fleets a day and burn yourself out because reasons, right? Like, that's just shitty. Like, if you want to hang out on comms and have fun, just hang out on comms and have fun. I think that's how things should be run.
And speaking of hanging out on comms and having fun, I would, since you guys are not in the best corporation in Goons, you're not in Karma Fleet, I will invite you to join us on Saturday Night's Forum tonight at 0200.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get in comms.
Clubbing in
with
place.
Me and Mittens and the gang and Merkel Chen and Nominate and all those guys. Grab a beer. We're going to go have some fun. We got Mine One, our DJ. You guys should come out tonight. I think the kids would like to see some Eve royalty coming out and hang with
I took the weekend off to blow shit up, so I don't know all about
There
it.
you go. You got it.
Well, you
Come
know,
on out and hang out with us.
Every night, if we're not on proper defense, we'll just be on offense because they decided to go to a Sav war against us when their vulnerabilities are set opposite of ours. It's just amateur.
I actually like it. I love that we're on opposite timetables right now, because then you get content for EUs from our timers, and you get content in the US from test timers. I mean,
yeah,
it's great.
They started this war, man. Like, they could have pulled the trigger on this thing whenever they wanted. They could have set their vulnerabilities to a more optimal time. But
what do they have it set for?
They've got it set for US. Ours are EU. So we
perfect.
play D on EU, and
there you go. You got all day content. It's
through
great.
The middle of the night. It's great.
I would like to extend them a personal thank you for making it US time.
I think that they have tried to change their vulnerabilities, but what they didn't realize is CCP changed it such that you can only change your vulnerabilities like with 30 days notice. So it's entirely possible that their vulns in like probably 24 days, if they still have anything in Esoteria. I mean, I'm sure that they'll have Keep Stars and Esoteria and Paragon Soul in 3 weeks, right? But anyway, so maybe their vulns are going to change, but it's a little bit too late considering where we are in our invasion logistics. Man, I don't know, man. It's just this is not how I expected this to go. I prepared for. I mean, who knows? Maybe we're about to get disbanded. Maybe we're about to lose.
That's the thing. Maybe all of a sudden there's this giant push and we see Titans coming everywhere and we're all going to die. You never know.
Well, worst case
maybe
scenario,
they have secret
we
plans,
will make
but
a
we're not ready
giant push with our Titans, and you know, yeah. But I mean, I guess Tess. I thought they scheduled an op, guys. Okay, so this is happening now. They scheduled an op for 2000 Eve, Saturday prime time, and I'm like. Going like last night, I'm like, oh my god, what are they doing, right? Like, that's during the meta show. If I was the one doing this, I would be doing a whole bunch of shit during the meta show, because I know like hostile leader or whatever is like off the table because they're on camera doing something or other. Like, that's the time that you want to fuck with these guys. Saturday prime time, they just did a dread move. Like, we move dread caches around all the time. We don't mobilize our entire organization to move dreads from point A to point B. And these guys wasted their Saturday time slot. If you see me looking over here, the way that the cameras are set up, if you see me looking at the center of the screen here, I'm actually staring at like my Jabber windows and stuff, because I've been monitoring to see whether there was something deeper or more significant here from Test doing a freaking dread move up. And I'm just shooting the shit with my friends on the meta show because
there you go. You got an easy weekend.
It's fucking pathetic.
January,
okay.
Is there anything that you've seen that you're surprised at so far, or is this all kind of, been what you would expect to see?
I mean, to be honest, this is only week 1. So I'm just kind of just hanging out and seeing there's so many little interesting things that have gone on this week. Just like the other night, Goonswarm killed 2 test Ratarus that were onlining in period basis, and then they were just going around killing like staging towers. So just little things that set themselves up for really big wins later on down the road. But I had someone come up, ask me like, why aren't they like onlining a Keepstar in like period basis? Why aren't they doing something crazy? It's because that's, it's a really bad disadvantage. I told them to look at the Keepstar that Sword Dragon dropped in MTO that one time. It's like they'll throw enough dreads at it to kill it and they won't even blink, so it's going to be a slow burn. The Extinction War was 8 months long, and both Test and Winter Coalition just ground each other out. So I mean, I expect big things, but week 1 is just too autistic, 2 guys just glaring at each other at the bar, Now
that I will say, I've seen more than anything is there have been a ton of these Mexican standoffs where one group's on one side of the gate and the other group's on the other side of the gate, and they're like, "Come jump into us." No, you jump into us. And I mean, we've seen a ton of fighting,
us, right? So,
well, that's the thing. We're like, guys, you're not going to win this war by sitting in Iridia or by sitting in period basis. You guys are not going to win the war that way. You got to come in. You got to fight us. You got to get into Q. You got to get into Fountain.
We're just gonna cut Test to pieces. Like, I mean, on the other hand, I think that maybe the reason why they're being so passive is because they know that if you're not in Test, basically, like the worst thing that happens if they don't succeed in invading Fortress Delve is that we murder zone Test, right? And like I think that's a I think a lot of people would enjoy seeing Goonswarm, do what we're doing to Test, because Test is next, and like whatever. It's just, the other thing is this. So like there have been a lot of things that have been going on, and we have been doing a ton of work this week. And I'm not going to talk about the things that we've done because that's sort of the point. But I believe, January, that when we do announce some of the things that we have been working on this week that have not really sort of, while everybody's talking about iHubs in Cloud Ring that we abandoned, or blowing up an Asterhus in Fortec 07, which we abandoned. We told everybody we were evacuating the exclusion zone, and these guys are like, patting themselves on the back about
we did it.
They multiple strat ops to get 2 Keepstars down, one of which was screw. Like, my God, they can't even get their staging systems right. Like that fat thing, they can't. The keep drops were boofed. It's just amateur hour.
1-1-1.
Anyway, whatever. We will reveal some of the things that we were working on in the first week once it makes sense for us to reveal them. Our enemies, please just ignore everything I'm saying and assume that I am spinning. I am just lying. You are doing to all of our enemies. You guys are doing a great job. You are totally kicking our asses
Keep
right
it up.
now.
Our morale is so low.
Don't need to change
it.
any of the plans. You have us right where you want us. Everything is fine. They still haven't realized that you can just immediately drop another. They don't even know that you can just drop another jump bridge. Like when we were defending KVN, like one of the things that I see on Reddit is like kind of like people talking about TCUs, people talking about jump bridges. Like, unless you snap an iHub, see, here I am, I'm helping the bads. Unless you snap an iHub, you can just drop another jump bridge the next day. Like, they're like, oh, we blew up this jump bridge. And I'm like, we don't blow up jump bridges because we know that they can just anchor another one the next day. You just reinforce them to disable the enemy reinforcement routes. But,
right.
Whatever. They think TCUs matter. So it's like we're playing chess against people that are smearing finger paint over the walls, right? Like, I don't even know. We'll see.
Hey, my art skills are just a little bit above finger painting, so I feel a little personally attacked there.
Hey,
well,
you know what? My MS Paint skills are off the chain.
Toddler finger painting, right? Not real finger painting. I'm sure that you can do great things with it. Obviously, some people have, but these guys, their finger paint skills are not up to your level, January.
There you go. Laz, Grath, any last words before we say goodbye to week 1 of World War B here?
A Marcus recruiting.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go. All right, gentlemen, ladies, thank you for joining us today. This was the Meta Show for July the 11th, 2020. I'm Briss Rubal, along with the Matani. We had Grath and Laz in January here. Week 1 of World War B is over. We are starting week 2 right now. So get out there, have some fun. We're looking forward to seeing you all next week. And Pine Cones to Lunda Est. You stay classy, New Eden.